Hi everyone, welcome to the full moon in Gemini card reading. Whatever message needs to come through. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Some of it might be for you, some of it might be for someone else. It's not going to fully resonate with everyone, but I was going to do, because I have full moon in Gemini readings available on my website right now. And you can go there in the link if you want. But I was going to do like a collective reading based on those readings. But in true Gemini fashion, at the last minute, it's like, no, let's just do whatever needs to come through message-wise, energy-wise. I did sorry. It's lots of sinus clearing, lots of throat clearing, guys. So if you're having those things going on right now, okay, there's stuff clearing out of our ability to perceive and see with the sinuses and the third eye, and to be able to express ourselves. Okay, Gemini is very expressive. I have the astrology reading up right now. I will link that in the description box, and then tomorrow I'm going to be sharing what I've done in the collective frequency energy session with the frequency of the moon. It explains everything in that video, so if you're like, what is that, whatever, anyway, here we are. Let's just see what we need to understand about this moon, or whatever messages need to come through. I did the Twin Flame Divine Connection reading for Patreons. That's generally a Patreon outfit for me. It's also in the description box. Oh, interesting. This kind of came in reverse. That doesn't happen very often. Professional assistance. Okay, bear with me while I get into this. Hang on. I apologize in advance if throat clearing annoys you, because it's probably going to happen quite a bit during this reading. Try to ignore it if you can. Okay. I had to blow my nose, so I had to pause the video. But so professional assistance upside down. Very interesting to me. I'm going to go a little bit deeper with this, so bear with me. I feel like we're going to see a lot of people still trying to be, like, we have like this, even in the spiritual community, the people that know all the information and they know a lot, but they haven't quite embodied it themselves. And they're trying to be an authority for everyone, saying this is the right way to do things, this is the only way, and blah, blah, blah. And when people need certainty, that resonates. But we're going into a time where everybody's path is different, and everyone's experience. It's not a catch-all. It's not an all or nothing. And interesting that we have the consciousness of lack, because the need to paint things in black and white, the need to make things all or nothing, comes from a place of lack. So even if you're not looking at other people and being like, wow, that person is needing to be certain, whatever, maybe you don't see the subconscious undertone or hear the subconscious undertone, be aware of where that's happening in your life, where like, okay, this is also this is interesting. We're also going to see a big shift in, where people want to receive help from others, but they keep looking at people who are certified or educated or what have you. And there's nothing wrong with that. I am not dissing that. So no one come for me. But there's also a lot of gifted people who aren't certified, who can help energetically, emotionally, mentally, that are not, how do I put this? They're not stuck in the indoctrination of the system. Okay. So they're able to sense the energy. They're not looking at you and trying to fit you into a logical book, or a book's, whatever their education is determining this is. They're actually sensing you and what you need. There's a shift coming with that. Okay. It could just be initiating now. We could be seeing a lot more, I want to say metaphysical practitioners, over professional assistants, because there's a lot of people really wanting to actually grow and expand, and sometimes the limitation of certification doesn't allow for that, okay? It's not an all or nothing, just don't come for me, but there's something that's shifting with that. Like, I know I've had clients sometimes say, you know, I've been in therapy this whole time and this session with you actually broke me open. It helped me with whatever. Like, it's so just, there's something with that. There's people that are going to be seeking alternative assistance. Okay. That was like the scenic route. Or maybe if you've been wanting to do that, this is your sign. This is your sign to do that, okay? And it doesn't have to be with me. It can be with anyone that you feel resonant with. And it's the resonance piece is so important, because we're going to, oftentimes when we go up into our heads and we try to calculate or logic, it kind of takes us out of what we're trying to sense and feel for ourselves. And sometimes we don't know, sometimes we can't have immediate proof as to why this person, we're meant to connect with that person. You know, like there's something here that your soul and your heart is trying to tell you. You need to work with this person, even if you can't define it logically or explain it to anyone. And you don't have to explain it to anyone. You are deserving of having whatever experience you want to have, regardless of how people feel about it. Okay. We have intuition and manifestation. So in the frequency of the moon video and the astrology of the moon video that I've done, there is a lot of belief systems that we are breaking down at this time. And this full moon in Gemini, I feel is going to really help us do that. What is so interesting is a really big belief that needs to be broken down. I feel personally, if you don't feel this way, that's okay. Okay. This is just where I'm at on my journey. We have all these old beliefs. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. And we've been indoctrinated to believe that we're going to be punished if we get all we desire, which is just baloney. It's not true. That's not true. Well, it could be true if we make it true. If we believe it to be true, it will be true. But what if whatever it is you're desiring is because you're meant to have that experience? Will it turn out exactly as you expect? Maybe not. But does that mean it's a bad thing? And does that mean that there are consequences? I think along the way where fear was just so indoctrinated into our system and our belief system, trying to keep us safe from everything, it became this blanket statement as if things don't turn out the way that you expect, then they're 100% a bad thing. I don't believe that to be true. It could turn out even better than you can imagine. But regardless, you're deserving of being able to determine what you desire for yourself and giving yourself permission to live into that experience, whatever that looks like. Okay. Yeah. Gratitude is really interesting. There's all kinds of ways in which you can practice gratitude, by the way. Even here's the thing. I'm gonna take this to a very interesting place, but even in, let's say, being angry, being frustrated, being sad, you're actually showing gratitude. You're allowing yourself to feel, you're allowing yourself to explore your feelings, explore your thoughts. That's growth. And anytime you entertain any form of growth for yourself, you're showing gratitude. Anytime you're reflecting on how far you've come, you're showing gratitude. It doesn't always have to be, I'm so grateful. You don't have to be grateful for being in a situation that you're angry in or that you're frustrated with. You don't have to be grateful for that. And you're not going to be withheld from. That's another belief system that we have, even in the spiritual community, that we have to be grateful all the time in order to attract better things, but you can't fake it. So you might as well just, and I've received sometimes when I've been in a really awful place, emotionally, mentally. So I don't believe that's necessarily true, okay? And I think we're rewriting the script. I don't think that the laws that everybody abides by, that we've been told we have to abide, I think everything's changing, and it can feel very confusing. Where's our grounding? Where do we anchor in? Where do we pour our energy into? Truly resonance. pour your energy into resonance, because especially with Pluto and Aquarius, all of these elements that are creating a state of flux. So up and down and up and down and up and down. Okay. There's no way to control that. So you might as well lean into what feels good to you in the moment. What might feel good to you today might not feel good to you tomorrow. And you just get to honor that. That's what I feel. I feel like we're really stripping back all of these rules and regulations that we live by. And it's not to say that all rules and all regulations are bad, but if they're limiting you in some way, if they're making you feel like either you're not enough or yeah, you're not worthy, or that you could possibly mess things up, or I don't know. I think there's all kinds of really interesting things. All I'm doing right now personally is paying attention to the thoughts that come into my mind when I'm doing something or when I want something. And I'm choosing to see where those thoughts come from instead of just giving them my power. So I'll give you this really random experience. I know this sounds really silly. I was playing Yahtzee with friends on my phone, and I was getting frustrated because I was just getting some really crappy rolls, and I'm like, why? But there's this thought comes in my, well, you can't win all the time. Where does that come from? Why can't I win all the time? It's just a stupid Yahtzee game. It's not gonna screw up the balance of the universe. Like, and I know I sound really critical, but I'm being critical of this thought. Where's this thought coming from? And I'm like, hang on, this is my reality. If I want to win every roll, every game, I can win every game. I'm allowed to do that. But it's so deeply indoctrinated that that's considered cheating, or that's what, and if you feel like that's cheating like I did, there might be a little bit of an issue of receiving when you do manifest, or there's might be a little bit of an issue of like fearing that you're cheating if you manifest everything you want, or like, I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on, but I'm working through this from personally. Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's not true. I could totally win this game. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to do anything wrong. Like, but the way it's so indoctrinated, and I kid you not, the moment I broke through that thought, every single roll was perfect and I won that game. Like, I've never had a game where every single roll was perfect. But it just goes to show you the power of thought and the power of what we pour our energy into. It wasn't resonant for me to constantly make myself small and be like, oh, and be considerate of winning and losing. Like, the way that anyway, lots is being broken through, and it's really difficult sometimes to process that. Just pay attention to your thoughts. Ask yourself where that thought comes from, and if it's actually true, like, and if it's something that you still want to subscribe to. Maybe you don't. Could I sustain this whole winning every game? No, I haven't yet, because I still have to work out the shame and guilt of winning, as if that's a bad thing, if it makes me a bad person. And this probably comes from early childhood or even my adolescence, where I won things and people were jealous, or people were upset that I won and they didn't. And I'm being so sensitive. I didn't know I was sensitive when I was little. I felt bad, like I had caused their pain. So I have a really hard time with allowing myself to be successful or win or whatever, because I don't want to be responsible for other people's pain, even though I'm not. It feels that way, right? Because I feel their pain. So anyways, if that resonates with you, lean into that. Come onto the party bus of discovery with me, because that's where we're at. Okay. What else do we want to get here? Okay. Oh, I love this. Okay, so we have the Ace of Pentacles. This is a new prosperous beginning. We have something has been cultivating. This full moon, I feel this full moon's helping us get out of our own way. Just all that stuff I just talked about. Like, have you ever seen where they'll sometimes burn a forest in order to allow for new growth? Like, if there's a lot of dead And so I feel like this full moon is burning away a lot of the dead energy, a lot of this stuff taking up space for us. And you may not be able to fully make sense of it or like dig into every little aspect. But if you're emotional and if you're feeling things and if you're like frustrated, just know that you're working out whatever it is you need to work out. You don't have to figure it all out. That can be crazy making, especially in a sign like Gemini. It's a very quick thinking energy. And if you don't have very strong Gemini or air placements, you might struggle a little bit with that. Don't sweat it. You cannot mess this up. Whatever you're experiencing, whatever is happening with you at this time is perfect for you. This is just for your knowledge to understand what's happening. And I give you some tidbits if you want to play along with it, but you can't mess up. Maybe some of y'all are tired. Maybe you just want to rest and just not do anything. You can do that too. If that's what's resonant for you, that's perfect. Okay. And your mind might want to be like, well, maybe I should do this. Question that thought. What part of you or what part of your belief system is making you feel like you should do something? Is it a part of you that's like, oh, I should do something to me, because if I don't do something, I might miss something, or whatever belief that comes from. Start questioning that part of you. Because if it's resonant for you to just lay around and do nothing, that's exactly what you need to do. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks you're supposed to do. And that's that piece that I talked about at the beginning where people are like, you should do this or you shouldn't do that. But that's just from their perspective of what they believe is true. But everybody's got their own path and everybody needs different things at every time at different times, There may be a moon or a time when you feel resonant to dig in and do a bunch of work. Then it's resonant for you then. The same with when I see posts that are like, it's this, this is what you should do during this time, like Mercury retrograde. This is what you should do or shouldn't do. And that might work for some people, but it's not for everyone. And I feel like we're really moving into a state of, and what I love about Aquarius energy, because we have Venus in Aquarius right now too. What I love about Venus or Aquarius energy is that it promotes the individual as part of the collective. So it's not an isolating energy, it's a connective, collaborative energy, but it's the awareness that every gear and every cog moves at its own speed and it has its own place in the collective as itself, not as everything else, not the same as everything else. There's a uniqueness. The Aquarian people that I know love the quirky shit. They love the little quirky, they love the little quirky things. They love the odd stuff. They celebrate the uniqueness in people. And I feel like if you can celebrate the uniqueness in you and just allow what feels good, whatever it is you need, I feel like you're going to make it through this full moon with great ease, Not to saying if you're emotional that's easy at any, but yeah. We've got the 5 of Pentacles, which to me is very much a childhood wound card. It is our lack and scarcity card. What I love about the imagery of this, I love this too. We got the 9 of Pentacles, speaking about individuality. We have the 5 of Pentacles, but I love the imagery of this card. That's where I was going, because this man's out in the cold, literally, which is what our wounds tend to make us feel. Our wounds tend to make us feel outside of ourselves, separate from others, alone in the world, which is why we have so many thoughts and so many beliefs that try to keep us from feeling this. But what I love about the imagery of this card, I went off a little bit, is do you see how the pentacles are beckoning him to come in from the cold? I feel like this full moon is going to show us where we've been separate within ourselves. I talk about this in the astrology and in the frequency work, where we've been taught to constantly be in separation from ourselves. So I'll give you an example. If you feel like you're tired and you just want to rest, but you have thoughts where you feel like you should do something, you have beliefs that are separating you from your most natural self, because your most natural self wants to rest. But there's this tug of war within you about what you should do and shouldn't do, okay? So I do feel like if you can just pay attention to that and start living a more authentic life, even if it doesn't make sense to other people. Here's another thing I find is really interesting about the way that we behave is we think that we and maybe this is just me and my family and the few people I know, but I don't think it is, because I feel like, growing up in a family unit, even growing up in the school system we're constantly having to explain ourselves. Where did you come up with that? Why did you do this? All this. So we grow up to be adults and we think that everything we do, and then of course we have social media where we post things, right? Where we post things and people want to comment, and we feel we have to explain ourselves to everybody. So what happens is you go to do whatever it is you want to do, and then you end up in your head about how you're going to have to explain that to people, or how you're going to have to, make sense of it for other people. And if you can't do that, then you shouldn't do this. Like, if that's you, let go of all of that, because you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. You really don't. Even if you're married, even if you have kids, you're still allowed your autonomy. You still have things that you get to champion for yourself. If your partner gives you balls about that, maybe it's time to reconcile how healthy your relationship is, or have a conversation with your partner about autonomy and allowance for the individual, because it's hard to sustain a relationship if you can't be yourself. And some of you might be in that space where you're starting to outgrow your partner. That may not be everybody. Okay. I feel like the North nodes are coming to a close in Aries and Libra. And there's a lot of recognition of what's cohesive in a relationship and what's not with those nodal changes. Anyways, okay. So bring yourself in from the cold. Recognize what you're deserving of. You show great gratitude when you honor yourself, right? There was something, this is really interesting. So I don't know who this is for, but if you're looking back on things that you are embarrassed about, decisions maybe you've made for yourself that others made you feel embarrassed about, something like that, or something you did that is embarrassing. I don't know who this, anyway, this is very random. Just know that whatever feelings you have about that situation, you have them because you've grown from it and you're now at a different vibrational frequency. So those feelings are just showing you how much you've grown, and not to keep you stuck in the past or making you feel bad about them. So random. Okay, let's see what else we have. Okay, we've got the Two of Pentacles. We got the Nine of Swords. Interesting. Okay, I see. Okay, what are we juggling on the other side? Interesting. Okay. The Nine of Swords is an interesting card because it's mental. It is our belief systems coming full circle. So the Nine of Swords represents fear and the way that we mentally live in fear all the time. But we actually create more pain for ourselves worrying about things we have no control over. And the Knight of Wands has a lot of courage. It's almost impulsive. There's an impulsivity to the Knight of Wands. And the impulsivity is needed to actually confront the fear. So if there are things coming up for you, I'm going to actually just put it this way. If there are things coming up for you that kind of terrify you, but you feel the impulsivity to take that leap of faith. And again, if this lean in, because you'll know, like sometimes the things that we worry about are not actually detrimental to our livelihood, our well-being. We just get so caught up in our heads about it that we talk ourselves out of it for no reason, even though we think that there's these big reasons. I'm not talking about really big life changes here. It can be if you want. Ultimately, you can't get permission from me anyway. You have to do it for you. But the Knight of Wands sometimes, is this young, impulsive energy, and that people like kind of frown upon, because there's not a maturity there. But I think sometimes it doesn't matter what age you are, you kind of need that. You kind of need to be a little bit impulsive to get over the hump of or the obstacle of like being stuck in your head about something. So just do it. Just do it. Okay. But there's a lot of juggling here between should I not, should I not, should I not. And if that's you, and if you're stuck in your head, again, look at the belief systems. What belief systems are keeping you trapped? And are they really serving? I don't know where this is coming from. This is really interesting. So let's say you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage that you are not happy in, and you have children, and you are indoctrinated to believe that you have to stay with your husband or wife because you have children and it's what's best for children. That is just a belief system. That is not actually true. It's actually worse to raise children in a marriage or in a house where the marriage is an unhappy, unemotional, or even toxic one. So I don't know who this is for, but there's this desire to leave the marriage, but worried about the kids, worried you're going to mess them up. But in a way, if you stay, you're going to teach your kids that they also have to stay unhappy, and they also have to stay in, unhealthy relationships. There's something with it. I know it's more complicated than that when it comes to kids, but and maybe that was just for somebody who's being worried about that. And I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life, and I'm certainly not responsible. You're going to bear the responsibility, 100% of the responsibility of whatever decision you make for yourself. But there's something you're juggling here, and it's only the indoctrinated beliefs that aren't actually true, thinking that your kids will be happier if you guys stay together. But kids absorb everything. They sense and feel everything. Their brains are wide open. It is not the same as an adult being in the situation. And so if it's really about the kids, really lean into what's good for the kids on a whole spectrum. Because we think we can hide things from our kids, and we just can't. We think we can. Anyways, I don't know who that was for. That took a turn. There's a new beginning that we are cultivating, but there's still some old belief systems that prevent us from believing that this is possible. That believing that we could have a really beautiful, happy, flowing, easy life. If I said to you, if I said to you, you could have an easy life, or life could be easy, what is your first initial reaction to that? Because whatever that reaction is tied to your belief systems, okay? They're really big right now. Okay, let's get 2 more cards. Yeah, we've got the Knight of Swords. So we do have some truth bomb energy. Sometimes, we've got the 10 of Cups. Okay. Bringing ourselves out of the cold. Okay. Being honest with ourselves. Being vulnerable with ourselves. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. It's you living your life. Okay. But if you're holding yourself back, you need to ask yourself what's more important. Is a happy, healthy, easy life something you feel isn't attainable? Do you worry that if you don't struggle, it's not worthwhile, or you haven't proven your worth of what you're deserving of? Where does that come from? I feel like this full moon is going to allow us to really understand the deeper undertones of where we hold ourselves back. It's nobody else. It's nobody in this equation. It's not other people messing with our business. It's our own protective ego that's trying to keep us safe, but keeping us small and restricted, as if we step into this beautiful life, are we not worthy of it? Is it going to be taken away? Is it possible? Is it something you don't even believe is possible? What is it? It's worth digging into. It's worth facing those things, and not from a place of being like, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I think that way. No. You were taught to think that way by people who were more influential to you than you. Okay. It's an innocent thing, but we're given an opportunity right now to actually peel the layers back and decide what we want to keep and what we don't. We're given an opportunity to lean into that. And even if you don't do anything with this, it's going to plant the seed for when you're ready for it. Because I feel it is time for people to be able to feel really good about their lives and happy and actually receive what they truly deserve. And not because they've shown the universe they're worthy. So this is the last little piece of advice I'm going to give you before I sign off. When we are kids, we need to seek permission for everything. When we become adults, we still seek permission from the people around us, from our families. And then when we become spiritual and open up to God or the universe, we seek permission from the God or universe as if they've replaced our parents. The universe or God does not punish. They don't do any of those things. They are here to fully support us in whatever we desire and whatever we need, because what we desire from our heart is telling us what we need. So you don't have to worry about being punished for what it is you desire and what you want. You just need to open to opportunities and allow it to unfold for you. I'm sending you all so much love, and take care.